fight para hacer este espectáculo uno de los más grandes en la historia. No nada más dándole el reconocimiento necesario, ¿no?, a nuestra raza por el Día de la Independencia, pero el hecho que escogió un lugar, una ubicación que jamás se han visto peleas ahí, ¿no?, que es el Sphere, la esfera de Las Vegas. Y el hecho de saber que nada más es un evento por una sola vez, es algo muy especial, ¿no? Es algo que yo como mexicano me siento orgulloso de decir, voy a estar ahí, va a ser un evento especial. Si te lo pierdes, posiblemente ya no haya una segunda oportunidad.
Oye, la lucha libre, sinónimo de México. ¿Qué tal pensar, por qué no, en una tipo noche WWE en México en estos motivos de fiestas patrias?
Pues ahora que tenemos a los nuevos dueños, que es TKO, que se encargan de UFC y WWE, ¿por qué no? ¿Por qué no hacer un evento, una WrestleMania o un pago por evento como un SummerSlam o Royal Rumble en la esfera? Yo creo que sería algo también muy histórico para la lucha libre, ya que es parte de nuestra cultura mexicana también.
Ray, so obviously with the merger of TKO and with UFC and WWE, what changes have you seen behind the scenes outside of just obviously the UFC guys appearing at the WWE shows and vice versa?
I think the change overall is, the content has always been exciting and very creative. Obviously, we have so many storylines going on that are very attractive, and I think that's probably one of the biggest changes that we've seen. We've seen newer talent arrive, newer talent from NXT that are up and coming. We're doing more of that change. The young talent that have been on NXT every Tuesday night, now when you see their evolution and their growth, they're being brought up to the main roster, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. So that's one of the changes that I've noticed personally. And overall, I think WWE has been hot for a minute now. So I'm really excited and blessed to be part of the company.
One thing that the WWE guys do great is training them for the media, talking to that crowd and getting them invested, whether it's boos or cheers. Rey Mysterio is a guy who's never had to be the bad guy. What is your advice to some of the UFC guys who, they're not as good on the mic because they're a little more laid back, more like yourself?
I think you might be asking the wrong guy just because I'm not that much of a mic guy. My form of entertainment has always been my style of wrestling. I always like to give something that the fans can go, whoa, what was that? So, but overall, I think the UFC fighters have a great mouthpiece. They can hold their own, and I've heard a couple out there that I grew up watching over the years that have done incredible over the mic, that I believe they should potentially transition over to WWE.
We know that wrestling's been the family business, it's your love, but do you think that had UFC taken off earlier that a young Rey Mysterio would have been into it and want to compete in the octagon?
Most definitely. I think if the sport would have been around when I was much younger, I would have definitely been intrigued to try it and train and prepare myself. Wrestling was around my family since I can remember, mid-70s. So, that's what I incline more for during that time. And still to this day, as you can see, it's a generational thing. Now my son, has followed in my footsteps as well. But, UFC or mixed martial arts has always been, once it came out on the scene, I was hooked right away. It was probably something that I would have loved trying.
Who are some of your favorite fighters? Who do you most enjoy watching?
Oh, man, John Jones, Cain Velasquez, even when Brock made that transition, from WWE at the time, it was like, how is he going to do in there, And I wish I could have seen a lot more, maybe even a Bobby Lashley or a Kurt Angle, during their time. But overall, man, I just, St. Pierre, there's just so many fighters that I grew up watching when I first started on the scene.
In wrestling, there are so many huge guys, and it took a while for wrestlers of a shorter stature, aside from in Mexico, where luchadors are very popular, to pick up in the States. And now in MMA, you see fighters 125, 135 pounds. Do you like seeing opportunities for people that are of a smaller stature? Basically genetically, a lot of people are not that big, getting opportunities to participate in different athletic endeavors like MMA and wrestling?
Most definitely. Definitely one of those pioneers that kind of broke that mold, that stereotype of a wrestler being 6'3", 280 pounds, just muscle. When I was given the opportunity in '96, that kind of, changed the scene a little bit. And happy to say that I was one of those guys that now, thanks to that opportunity that was given to me back in the mid '90s, you see a lot more talent with my size and my body weight, the build that I have, which is the same for UFC. Mighty Mouse is a great example of that.
Are there any names, do you think, from the current UFC roster that would excel in WWE world?
Man, as you know, we've always talked about it amongst us. We think Conor would do really good in WWE, if he transitioned. At least it looks like he would be able to do good. He did it in boxing, so that's one of the guys that I think would be intriguing to watch one day.
And what was your reaction to WrestleMania being announced for the Allegiant Stadium next
Oh,
year?
I love it. I love the fact that I'm at home now. I've been living out in Vegas now for 4 years, so to be able to have WrestleMania here in Las Vegas next year it's awesome, man. I don't have to leave home. Enjoy it from here.
When you look back at your career and everything you've accomplished and done, you're here in the community. What matters to you most, and what's so important to you to make the effort to be here?
Here today at Casa de Luz, to be able to connect. I was telling somebody earlier, I've always been a giving back to my fans type of person. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've had over the years, and to be able to connect with the fans on a level like today is a way of me being thankful and giving back.
Oye, Rey, rapidísimo, una última. Saliéndonos del tema, Clásico Nacional Chivas América en el fin de las fiestas patrias. Predicción, marcador, por favor.
Pues mira, fíjate que debería haber sido yo más hueso colorado, aficionado al fútbol, aunque sí lo soy, pero mis padres de Guadalajara, imagínate, yo creo que cada vez que iba a México en los años pasados, la América me recibía con brazos abiertos, me llevaron al Estadio Azteca, pudimos pisar el campo y todo, entonces un momento muy difícil, pero 50-50, vamos Chivas, vamos a América.
Empate.
Empate, bueno, ¿por qué no, verdad?